You're watching Captains of Industry, and I'm speaking to Jackie Van Niekerk, who is CEO of the Pivotal Property Fund. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
So we're talking about a 13 billion rand property fund, and your growth trajectory has been amazing given that you listed on the JSE in December 2014.
That's correct, yes.
Give me a little bit about how this all came about.
Let's start at the very beginning. We're born out of the Abland stable, Abland being a development company in the industry for the last 35 years, pioneered by Thys Nieser and then his partner Dave Savage, and then the rest of the Abland directorship. And having partnerships throughout their developments, they thought it best to put everything into a fund. And that's where the seed of Pivotal was born. We started putting one or two properties with the help of Standard Bank into the fund, and we really operated as an unlisted fund for 5 years before the ideas of a listing came about. The ideas of listing came about when Standard Bank wanted to offload a big part of their real estate direct portfolio, and Pivotal co-owned a big component of that with Standard Bank. We really needed to go into the listing world because of the need for capital to buy Standard Bank out, and that really catapulted us into the next level for Pivotal listing. We then also took the opportunity of consolidating quite a number of assets through other third party, and then came to a listing amount just below 9 billion, and subsequent to that grown the portfolio to 13 billion.
So let's talk a bit about the portfolio, because you are largely exposed in retail and office with a very, very small offering in the industrial space. Give me the rationale behind the makeup of the portfolio.
So the makeup really, Abland being an astute commercial office development over time, so it was always a natural progression to build good office precinct portfolios. We also then focus quite a lot on gearing up our retail portfolio, because we really see a long-term value growth out of retail. Hence, our skepticism, we really needed to have more industrial in our portfolio. So we've been very active with Abland and ourselves buying up a lot of industrial land over the last year.
So we can see that kick up
Absolutely.
as a percentage of your exposure.
Correct. We bought 550,000 square meters of bulk last year, of which 90% is industrial focused. The two areas we're focusing on is in Germiston, on the N3, over 1 million square meter development in partnership with Redefine and Abland. We really see this as an industrial hub that we will create. And then the other component of industrial is on the N7 in Cape Town, Atlantic Hills, focusing on industrial.
Before we go any further, the underpin to this property portfolio, be it your retail exposure, your office exposure, and your industrial exposure, is of course economic growth, and the fact that you have South Africa, which is where the majority of your exposure is. You've got one asset in Nigeria at the moment. How do you feel about the general landscape and the fact that you're expanding into the industrial space when economic growth in South Africa is below 1%?
It is a concern for us. Being a development fund focusing on growth and piggybacking of the GDP growth in South Africa, we're very concerned about the growth. However, if we look at the private sector, the private sector and what the GDP growth is very out of line at the moment. We have concluded over 50,000 square meters of leasing in the office space during this current year. You will ask me, where does it come from? A lot of shifting around of tenants, and a lot of international tenants coming in on a smaller
multinationals breaking into the South African space.
Wanting to expand into Africa. We've seen quite a lot of that. We do, however, see our anchors in our retail centres gearing a bit back.
So what are vacancies looking like in the retail space for you?
It's 2.2%, and in offices is 2%. So
and the trend?
The trend is at 10% for offices. So we're very well placed, and I think why we're well placed is the quality of our product and also the way we manage our buildings. We very fundamentally driven company, and that's what underpins our developments and how we look after our developments post completion. Will we gear back on developments? Absolutely yes, in this economical climate. But we've also shifted our strategy a bit. We have merged with another company in Africa, where we've consolidated our efforts with Delta. So the new company name fund is called Mara Delta, whereby all our assets will be in the Mara Delta stable. And then further to that, post-balance sheet this year, we have just last week concluded a transaction in Poland. Again, underpinned by the fundamentals that we've got in South Africa. good income producing assets, great partnerships like we have with Abland. We've got good partnerships in Poland, and then a good site of development opportunities that will unlock with a growing economy. Their GDP growth currently is at 3.5%.
The industrial focus, as you say, you are trying to increase that as a percentage of your overall property mix. Interestingly enough, the one arena that should kick up is the manufacturing space, given the weak rand, and you'll see perhaps some of the multinationals coming in, establishing manufacturing plants. Is that part of the rationale for, would your industrial space include factories, manufacturing factories?
It could definitely include. We do, however, see quite a big trend of a lot of consolidation happening at the moment. Tenants or occupiers that have got 2 or 3 smaller logistic units wanting to consolidate in one much larger unit. And also we've seen how the rapid growth in terms of the technology on logistics have changed, where it's an outdated logistic warehouse where they want to relocate into newer warehouses for themselves. We do, however, see headwinds with manufacturing with the supply of electricity. So it's really a balancing act of the cost of electricity versus the cost of manufacturing, and does it still warrant the exports with the rand? So it's a balancing act for those tenants, but we're open to any lease as long as it makes sense.
So let's talk about electricity shortages, because that also will impact your retail space. Has there been an impact, and how have you helped your tenants through this relatively turbulent environment?
Yeah, especially last year when we had those outages, really impacted the retail tenants. Our bigger anchors, they've all got their own jennies in our centres, but it's your moms and pops that's battled. They can't trade, it's dark, it's an unpleasant environment. So what we have done from a portfolio point of view is we've spent 60 million in equipping our entire retail centres with backup generators. We just felt that
so that they won't actually experience the outages at all.
And then our whole stance with retail experience must be always consistently the same. Where we don't accept a few light bulbs out, it must be a light, bright, welcoming experience, and hence the reason we have invested.
Do you deploy the same strategy with your office space?
That's always been a strategy, and also backup water we also deploy.
The mixed use type property also seems to be high on your agenda. Is it a trend not only in South Africa, but now looking at Nigeria?
I would not say Nigeria is so much a trend on the mixed uses yet. It's very much focused only on office or retail development. I think that market is still very unmatured in terms of the mixed use space. But I think we're really following trends from Europe, Australia, on the mixed use precincts that they've built and been very successful in. We've learned our tenants don't just want to occupy space, they want to occupy a service. They want to have much more than just being in an office block. What we are rolling out, for instance, at Alice Lane is we've got 3 towers with a piazza connecting the 3 and opening it up to the streets. You've got the traffic infrastructure that supports it. So from a tenant point of view, you offer your own workers great transport, a piazza, so basic services, so that it's a much bigger environment other than just occupying space. So very much the focus on our side, even on the retail side, filling station, day hospital, really bringing a vibe and a live, work, play environment other than just supplying a retail centre or an office.
Focusing on Nigeria, tough trading environment at the moment. Yes. Has it impacted your business?
It's not materially impacted our business, as we are still building completing the building of the asset.
Has it put any spanner in the works in terms of the actual completion date of that asset?
We have been, the completion date has been moved out by 1 month. Where it has put a spanner in the works is
that's not a train smash. 1 month. I think you can deal with 1 month.
Yeah. So where it has become an issue is finding dollars. We had to buy dollars on the black market, but I think with government now this week lifting the cap from the 200 naira to the dollar to 350, I think will open up the flow of dollars again, because that uncertainty has been taken out of the market. So that's where we felt a big uncertainty.
Would you say that Nigeria is open for business again then?
I think there's a lot of headwinds again in Nigeria, especially letting up the balance of our building has gone slower than anticipated.
Just for our viewers, the building in Nigeria is in fact office space.
There's definitely headwinds, and there's more headwinds to come. With the economy very dependent on oil. Oil has taken a massive knock, as we know, but we've also seen a recovery in the oil price, which is it's a positive. And I think also lifting that cap of the naira and rebalancing it back to 350 will definitely relieve that uncertainty of the dollar.
Nigeria, is that your growth opportunity in this portfolio?
No. Nigeria is one of the growth opportunities. It is Mozambique, which again with the IMF, those black swans just keep on swimming around us being in Africa. Mozambique, Tanzania, and then also Uganda being a big growth in our focus.
You obviously, you look at Tanzania and Uganda following population concentration in those economies. Have you already laid the groundwork in those economies?
We are currently busy with that. It's a combination of, again, having good partners in those countries, people that you can trust.
Is that crucial to doing business in Africa, finding the right partner?
It's fundamental in any country. You're going to Australia, which is a first world, we will also, it's fundamental to our business, having that in-country knowledge, which we leverage off. That's for us crucial in our business plan to be able to take the step and invest the money into those countries, yes. So coming back to those two countries, we are busy
How quickly do you think you can unlock them?
It is in Africa, other than South Africa, it takes much longer. For instance, we have Nigeria, I think it was 3 years before they actually started with physical construction on site. 3
years of negotiation, land
rights, that type of thing. So Africa is a much more longer term view than what the world have seen Africa to be a quick turnaround time as the next big boom. I think if you approach Africa with long-term sustainability, that's what you'll get out of Africa.
What is the secret to finding the right partner?
I think...
What do you look, in other words, what do you look for?
I look at solid track record. I look at skin in the game. Very important for us. If I put $1 in, what is your dollar that you'll put in? I look at quality, track record, what have they done, what have they accomplished. And that true partnership, can we trust each other? That's very, very important for us. It's very soft issues, but we're fundamentally driven on those issues. Will you put your money in?
And you need to be able to eyeball your partner, and I suppose a lot of it is on gut feeling.
Yeah, and when you get burned once, you won't do another deal with that type of person. So I think that's how we've been brought up from a pivotal point of view.
Have you made mistakes?
We make mistakes on a daily basis, absolutely. In South Africa, we make mistakes. Sometimes you make a wrong call on a development, but we also know how to rectify it.
There needs to be an element of nimbleness in your...
Absolutely.
In your development.
We do make mistakes, and we rectify them sometimes after the building has been built, cap in hand, to say that it wasn't the right call or not the right type of tenant. And we do fix it up. So in the development game, it's an even-changing environment, and you need to keep up with the trends. So,
talk to me about being a captain of industry as a female, as a young female.
It's challenging, but I think if you believe in yourself and you love what you do, if you look forward to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, there must be something that is attracting you to that. So I think it's living life to the fullest that you can, believing in yourself and absolutely enjoying and being proud of the team, firstly, that you built. I'm extremely proud of the pivotal team, being part of the Abland team, even though they're not directly associated to us, and learning from everyone.
Did you gun for the CEO position? Did you know you wanted to be the Chief Executive Officer?
I think from an early stage working, because I was one of the only employees of Pivotal, it was almost a natural progression for me to become the CEO. I never thought that it would happen so quickly. I was quite humbled by the approach from Abland asking me to become the MD at that stage when we were unlisted. So very honoured. I take the job very seriously, and I protect my shareholders on a very daily basis. So I love what I do.
Are there a number of women at the same level as you in the listed property space?
Yes, we've got Bronwyn Corbett. She's the CEO of Mara Delta, the fund that we invested in. And then you've got other captains of industry, for instance, Marna van der Walt, CEO of Accelerate. They're not listed, but a phenomenally big company that she's put together.
I'm sorry to be drilling into the female agenda, but I think it's really important for you to share your experience, specifically with other women who aspire to sit in that corner office.
The corner office is not the gratifying thing. I think the gratifying thing is building a team that you mutually respect. And what I've learned being a female in this industry, you earn respect, and sometimes it comes with a price. It comes with the price of being first at the office in the morning, working longer hours, understanding your product better than what the male industry would do, And sometimes you have to put up to do the minutes because, of the meeting and gain control. I've learned if you gain control of a situation, you're the one always step ahead. The males never want to do the minutes, so I'll do the minutes and gain control.
When you expand into Africa as you are doing, do you go in and do the negotiations, and how are you received in those boardrooms?
I don't do directly the negotiations on the current on Mara Delta. I negotiate with the fund. But doing the negotiations on wings, we were doing the negotiations.
This is in Nigeria, in Lagos?
We don't fly there, but we do it in Joburg. So, we are well received, well respected. I think Pivotal comes with a long track record, so people do respect us. I think similar how we look at partners, they look at us. And being young, I've always been scared how they would look at this girl rocking up at the meeting in the boardroom. But I think our experience and our ability to deliver has quite a lot of people.
Talk to me about balance. How are you going to, do you have it? Is there such a thing as balance, and how are you going to achieve it, specifically again as a woman?
Balance is the most challenging thing to get right, being a CEO and a mom of a 2-year-old. It is chaos, and then being a wife. You manage it like a business. We have got a calendar as the family, planning between my husband and myself. I've got a phenomenal nanny, and you go about quality and not quantitative. And
I've heard that numerous times.
That's what it's about. The quality time with your children and with your husband is not always the qualitative and spending all the time with them. I think it's having an open relationship and understanding each other and supporting each other and compromising a lot.
You talk about your team passionately and that you are so proud of the team that you have built. What is it that you look for in people?
I look for people that want to aspire to grow, people that are not scared to be challenged, people are not scared to make mistakes, to put their hand up and do more. That's what I look at. We've got a young team. I think it's very well balanced between male and female in the team, and it's a team that must be able to be daring and to be out there and put themselves out there to grow.
And how do you reward them? Because this retention of talent is a huge problem in such a mobile environment as we are faced with in the work environment today.
It's a combination of, learning, putting set goals out to the team, promoting your team, putting them into the seat that I was a few months ago to be able for them to handle situations. I think that is much more gratifying for someone, knowing that you trust them with the situation, than financially, but also financially you have to reward them short-term and long-term and give them a stake of your business, definitely.
So that ownership is, again, giving your staff skin in the game, so to speak.
200, yeah, absolutely, yes.
Is that the key to having people believe in your long-term vision?
Yes, because my long-term vision affects them directly from a financial point of view. Our scheme works that the performance is directly linked to the company and their personal performance. So I get 300% buy-in because the way they operate, if they don't sign a new lease, they are directly impacted by the company's performance. So absolutely.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I would describe it as tough, no nonsense, there's no frills. But I would say humane. I'm also a mom. I do understand family, and family comes first in our company, and then it's work. But
do you treat your female colleagues in a different manner to your male colleagues, given the fact that you are a mum?
You tend to be more understanding if someone's sick, a child is sick, and a mom has to be with their child when they're sick. But I also understand when a husband needs to help his wife, because I know the feeling if you've got a screaming 2-year-old and you just need support. So I think I understand the balance. And if someone's sick, they're sick. Male or female, you need to rest and get better.
Who did you rely on from a mentorship perspective in forging your way to the top?
I would say Dave Savage from Abland, and he's also been recently executive of Pivotal, and Thijs Nieser, the absolute, he was the visionary of putting Pivotal together. Always having an open door, very flat structure that I've grown up into the business. There's no crazy idea, let's look at it. And they've supported a woman, a young female, becoming a CEO and looking after a very big part of their wealth. And that, to me, as I said, very humbling, and I take it very seriously.
Advice to other entrepreneurs, and let's move away from the male-female discussion. Advice to other entrepreneurs out there.
I think believe in yourself, work hard. There's no recipe for greatness of believing in yourself and working hard and believing in that product and backing yourself. Absolutely backing yourself in what you're doing. I think that is an absolute key.
Do you have, this is an interesting theme that we've been discussing with a number of leaders at the moment, that when it comes to Africa, 70% of the population is under the age of 30. Now, we know that you are very young, and if I may, at 33, I think you need to be proud of your accomplishments. Mostly women don't want to give away their age, but you should be plastering it all over the place because it is phenomenal in terms of what you have achieved. Do you employ millennials?
Absolutely.
Young people.
Absolutely.
And what do they bring to the table?
They bring absolutely new way of looking at life. I mean, this whole social media phenomena, trends, analysis, bringing this edge, especially from a retail environment. The youngsters in we've got a very young financial manager, actually quite senior in our business, he's 28. Young, hard-working, not scared to pick up the phone and phone for money or capital raise, So it's that enthusiasm.
There's a tenacity.
Absolutely, and this drive to be successful. I love it. And I absolutely encourage it. And so that's what I look out for, is that fire.
Technology is also changing the way that we do everything. How's it impacting the property space?
It's quite big. If you ask online retail marketing, it's been quite an interesting phenomena.
Isn't that a huge threat to your business?
I would say no. Because I can quote some stats that in the UK, which is one of the biggest online growth online retail marketing, the space for retail, physical space has gone up, the demand. Amazon, which is the biggest, oldest online marketing platform has been in the world, that's changed the landscape, they've started opening up physical stores. So I think you call it e-tailing, you bring it all together, giving the experience.
Somebody has to have both the physical and the online experience.
And you have to bring
so the one's not going to substitute the other.
No, we still need to go fit on this dress, You can just buy so much online, but people, physical interaction they need. We're humans, we want it. So I think clever bringing those two together. I think South Africa still lags behind those trends. We're not yet there from an online retail shopping point of view. So it's just to gradually grow into that space.
We spoke about Nigeria and the fact that Nigeria is really lagging from a developmental perspective. Has the infrastructure, the lack of infrastructure in the Nigerian space been a challenge?
Absolutely, yes. And I think that's also been an opportunity for us, building this office space. There's buildings that Nigeria, I think, is 30% on the grid with electricity. The balance is run off by generators. So building office space with sufficient backup water and generator creates an opportunity for you to attract the good tenants. So it's created an opportunity other than a negativity to supply those type of amenities, and you'll be able to guarantee those utilities to your tenants.
When is your next project in Nigeria going to come online?
Not soon. we need to get this project done. It's taken quite a long time. It's a big capital spend that we've got in there. It's over 1.3 billion.
Does it make you nervous?
It does. It makes me nervous, especially when you've got these black swans swimming around you and you can actually see them. So we would like to just watch the space, finish the building, get it into the fund, and just see how it trades, and then we'll look at other opportunities. As I said, we quite seriously looking at opportunities at Uganda and Tanzania at the moment, which will be our focus at the moment.
Just in terms of the office space in Nigeria, what is your occupancy at this point? I mean, what have you got booked?
Booked is 60% occupant, and then we're working on quite a big transaction at the moment for a large component of the balance of the space before we start trading the building in August this year.
Earlier you spoke about consolidation. Do you think we're going to see further consolidation in the property fund environment?
I would suspect so, yes. I think, especially in this bear market, you need bigger balance sheet. With these smaller, mid-sized capped funds, I think I'm expecting there will be some movement and some consolidations to create bigger, bigger balance sheets with which is better spread. That's what I'm suspecting. Yes.
Your vision for Pivotal Property Fund?
Always focusing on the fundamentals and not losing sight of that. Expand on the offshore vision that we've got, not only in Africa, but Poland and also other matured markets, and really bringing a great diversified portfolio to our shareholders, focusing on quality, mixed-use precincts and influenced by technology, and really being a trendsetter in the future for other developers of how we can incorporate technology in these mixed-use precincts.
Jackie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I've been speaking to Jackie Van Niekerk, who's CEO of Pivotal Property Fund. You've been watching Captains of Industry here on CNBC Africa.